He happened to notice an ignored painting in a corner, though it only showed half a face. He recognized and ran instantly. The painting was a profound metaphor. Alan could capture her likeness, but not the completeness of her soul, for the other half of her heart was forever reserved for Jia Yongyuan, and only Yongyuan could see her entire story through that partial portrait. He bought all of Alan's paintings just to obtain Ran's contact information. Finally, outside Ran's apartment building, he heard those familiar footsteps once more. For Ran, the reunion was both awkward and heartbreaking. Her room was cluttered, a reflection of her life in disarray. She put up a front of strength, but her words were laced with distance.
Ran, listen to me. It's too late.
Yongyuan wanted to explain what happened back then, but she shut him out, claiming it was too late and she needed to rest. Zhao Yongyuan did not give up. Using his wealth, he became a major client for the travel agency wherein Ran worked part-time, and specifically requested her as his guide. Just like when they were children, she followed quietly behind him, listening to him describe the sights of New York. On the Brooklyn Bridge, seeing it covered with lovelocks left by couples, he borrowed a pen and quietly wrote a message on the bridge pleading for Ran's forgiveness. He arranged a dinner and even invited their childhood friend from back home. He wanted to create an opportunity to tell Ran the truth about the past. At the dinner, faced with Yongyuan's current success, Ran's insecurities and resentment were triggered.
Now, you can buy out my time and make me dress like this, just to dine with you at the best restaurant in Manhattan, and show me how successful you've become. Now that I've seen it all, the game can end now, right?
She turned and ran out of the restaurant, and Yongyuan chased after her. The late-night streets of New York, emotions suppressed for years, finally erupted.
What is it that all your life you only know how to follow me?
I'm used to it.
These four simple words instantly crumbled all of Ran's defenses. Indeed, from childhood to adulthood, this man's entire life seemed devoted to following her. All the misunderstandings, resentment, and grievances transformed into a surge of love at this moment. She turned and threw herself into his arms, and they kissed passionately on the street. The weight of "I'm used to it" is heavier than 1,000 pounds. It wasn't a perfunctory remark, but the lifetime of devotion that the film always embodies. But fate's cruel twist was not over yet. The next morning, while they were still basking in the joy of their reunion, her ex-boyfriend Alan appeared with flowers, hoping to win Ran back. The moment he saw Yongyuan in the room, he understood everything. He turned to flee, only to be struck by a car. Though his life was not in danger, doctors said he would likely be paralyzed for life. The kind-hearted Ran was once again shackled by guilt. She felt that Alan's tragedy was her fault and she had to stay to care for him. At the hospital, she broke up with Yongyuan.
Leave me, just like you once made me leave you.
I asked you to leave back then, for your own sake.
And now leaving me is for mine.
Seeing the resolve in Ran's eyes, Yongyuan chose to let go once more. He didn't return to Beijing, but stayed in New York instead, watching over her and waiting silently from a distance. Over the next few years, Ran cared for Alan devotedly, and while she and Yongyuan crossed paths on the streets of New York countless times, they never actually met. By 2001, Alan's health had gradually recovered. He could see how unhappy Ran had been all those years. He knew that by using his illness to keep her, he only held an empty shell. Her heart would always belong to Yongyuan, so he finally chose to let her go. He initiated breakup, urging Ran to find her own happiness. Having regained her freedom, Ran returned to the Brooklyn Bridge. She chanced upon the words Yongyuan had left on the bridge years ago. Tears fell as she finally decided to bravely pursue her love. September 11th, 21. A day that seemed like any other. Ran dialed the number she had etched in her heart.
Hello.
It's me. I'm planning to go back to Beijing.
I finally heard you say it. I have actually been waiting for you in New York all along.
I never knew.
So, when can I see you? Today.
And every day from now on.
This was the most blissful promise of their lives. A sense of fulfillment finally reached. After 30 years of hardships, but at that very moment, the phone signal was suddenly cut off. Ran had no idea that her lover on the other end of the line was in his office in the North Tower of the World Trade Center, while a plane was roaring toward the window. Ran raced toward him like mad, only to see billowing smoke in the skyscraper, collapsing right before her eyes. As all of New York fell into a panic, their childhood friends back in Beijing also saw the horrific scene on the news. They frantically dialed Yongyuan's number, but there was no longer anyone to answer. They'd missed each other time and again, yet just as they finally decided never to let go, fate tore them apart forever in the most brutal way. Fast forward to 2014, and Ran finally returned to Beijing. The city had undergone earth-shattering changes, but the No. 31 bus stop that held all her childhood memories was still there. She stood there as if she could still hear the footsteps of that tag-along behind her, yet she knew he would never appear again.
Though they missed each other for a lifetime, to have loved is to last a lifetime.
This closing monologue is the most poignant footnote to the entire film, but always is ultimately a story about missed chances. Fate is like a cruel screenwriter pushing them together time and again, only to ruthlessly tear them apart, just as happiness is within reach. Their childhood separation was beyond their control, and their youthful parting was built on a well-intentioned lie. To let go in middle age is a choice of conscience, yet the final outcome is devastating, a tragic and eternal separation between the living and the dead. Meanwhile, the film serves as a reminder to us ordinary people living in times of peace, to cherish the one who can recognize the sound of your footsteps, to express your love and vulnerability with honesty, to seize every moment you have together today because you never know whether a seemingly ordinary departure or a call cut short by a lost signal will become a final goodbye. Perhaps a true lifetime together isn't about staying by each other's side day and night, but that even after saying goodbye you live on in every minute and second of my life. To have loved even for just a moment is enough to burn for a lifetime. This is perhaps the most tender revelation that but always leaves for those who believe in love, as well as the most cruel,